So I went into town a couple of days ago and I ended up buying a load of new books. Now, I hadn't intended on buying any books, but when you see a sale for brand new books and they're all £1, it'd be rude not to. So the first book I got is called The Taken, and it's by Alice Clark-Platts. So I've never read anything by this author before. In fact, I've never even heard of this author, to be honest. But the book sounded quite interesting, and I mean, it was £1. So I thought, when is a better time to try authors that you've never tried before when they're only £1? End of the day, I've only wasted £1 if I don't like it, haven't I? So the next book I got was Bridget Jones's Baby, which might seem a strange choice for people who've watched any of my videos, especially my recent ones. But years ago, I did get quite into reading diary-style books. I don't really remember that much of these ones, so I suppose maybe they weren't that memorable for me. But the one thing that I do remember was at the beginning of every new date, she'd put how many cigarettes she'd smoked and how many drinks she'd had. And that's the only thing that's really stuck with me, but I think they're like nice, easy reads, so I thought, well, while it's £1, I might as well get it. So the next book I bought was Murderous Mayhem at Honeychurch Hall by Dennison. Now, I've never read this author before, but based on the cover, I do think I really would enjoy this book because it looks very much like some of the books I have been reading recently, the ones where people are getting murdered in the Cotswolds or the Lake District or anywhere else that there's lots of countryside. So I thought this one sounds very similar to that kind of book. So I thought this is the perfect time to try out a new author. So hopefully I will really like this book and maybe I will do a review on this. We'll see. Depending if I like it or not, because I did try another series that was set in the countryside and I forget which author that was, but I got about halfway through this book and it was... I realised that countryside, cosy mystery murder books are meant to be sort of kind of slow-paced and not like thrillers, but there's slow-paced and there's asleep. And basically that one was just, it was too slow. I couldn't even deal with that book. It's one that would have been worth it for a sarcastic review if I could have bared to get through it, but unfortunately I ended up giving up halfway through. I think actually because it was a library book, I'd been reading it and it took so long to read the first couple of chapters that I'd extended it too many times at library and I had to take it back anyway. I just didn't take it back out again. But hopefully this one will be a bit better than that. So the next one I got is called A House Full of Secrets by Zoe Miller. Again, this is another author that I've never read, but I thought perfect time to do it. And this one reminds me of another book that I read recently. I forget what name it is now, but the idea of going off somewhere with someone you haven't seen for years who possibly has some vendetta against you that you for some reason don't know or think they've forgotten about or whatever. So I thought this one sounded like it might be similar to that, and I thought it's worth giving it a try for £1. So the next book I got is Who is Alice by Miranda Manning. Now this one, it doesn't look like it's really going to be a mystery series so much as a this is what happened after the terrible thing that is basically explained on the back cover. So it doesn't look like there'll be twists and turns, but that isn't to say that there won't be. This could just be my interpretation of what they've put on the back. But I'm feeling like this one's a little bit different to what I normally read. I have read stuff similar to this in the past, or at least I think so now. I'm basing this on the fact that I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, it could be completely different. As they say, never judge a book by its cover. But the synopsis kind of reads like the kind of books that I used to read probably about 20 years ago. So I'd be interested to see if I'm right about that or if it is something different. I would be interested as well to see if there is any mystery in it, because it doesn't look like there is. But then again, as I say, I could be judging it entirely incorrectly. So the next book I bought was Agatha Raisin and the Terrible Tourist. Now, I can't actually remember if I've already read this one or not, because I have read most of Agatha Raisin's books, but every now and again I will spot one and think, oh, I don't think I've read that. But if I did read it, I don't have a copy of it already, I do know that. So if I read it already, I've got it from the library. So I thought, well, while it's £1 and it's brand new, I'm going to get it. I'm still going to read it again, even if I've already read it. So that's it for the books that I got from the works, from the pound sale. So the next two books that I got were actually second-hand, or at least they were from charity shops. I don't know whether they've already been read or not. But the first one is Agatha Raisin and the Quiche of Death. And the reason I got this, again, is because all the books that I've read in the Agatha Raisin series so far are books that I got from the library, so obviously I returned them. I don't actually own a copy of an Agatha Raisin book. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this, I wanted to start from the beginning, and this is the first book in the series. And I have recently been watching the DVD adaptation of this series and noticing quite a lot of differences. And just because I am that weird kind of person, I want to reread the first book, which I did read many years ago now, and see just how many differences there are from the book to the TV show. And last but definitely not least, I've got The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. And I'm actually kind of embarrassed to admit that I've never read a Poirot book. Now, I realised this recently when I was reading a series by a different author who's kind of followed on with the Poirot story, and I decided I was going to try them and see if they were any good, or see if I liked them anyway. And I did really enjoy the 2 books that she'd done based on Poirot, but then I thought to myself, I don't know if this is an accurate representation of Poirot or not, because I've never read the original books. I do remember years and years, a lot of years ago, when my parents used to sit and watch the Poirot show on TV, and I didn't like it, but then again, I was hardly the target demographic in them days. So I thought, now that I'm a bit older, a lot older, it's about time I read an Agatha Christie and see if they are worth the hype. I don't know, because, like I say, I've not read any of the Poirot. I have finally read an Agatha Christie book, but it wasn't one of the Poirot ones, because I specifically wanted to start with the first one, and this is number 1 in the series. So I will be interested to see if I do like it, if it measures up to the other one that I read, although technically that one should be measuring up to this, and not the other way around, but you know what I mean, because I read that one first, unfortunately. So I'm going to see if I do like this one or not, I don't know. Hopefully I will, and then I'll have a whole new series to be getting on with, so fingers crossed. So that's it for today's £1 book haul. Hopefully those books will keep me going for at least a week. Fingers crossed. So I went into town a few days ago and Ginger, seriously?